Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hype, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hunter. Welcome back to Baseball Hype 2. And hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. Now, normally with these videos, I have stuff on the side here when I talk about a particular player, but I think I know enough about the player to discuss him in a rather succinct and a rather interesting way for you. And you can discuss it in the comment section. I would mention that this is not personal. This is not personal. It's business. We want to see the Mets play well. We don't want to see them be fanooks on the field like those crazy Savannah Bananas. At least they're entertaining. But Francisco Lindor, Mets shortstop, he's terrible. And he's overrated. And quite frankly, I would hope that the Mets start to look to move him out of here. He has been with the Mets now 4 seasons, and he has shown that he cannot, and the Hut means cannot, carry his ball around on the field. He's being paid a lot of money, $340 million over the course of this contract. I guess that's what it is. About $268 million after this year. And quite frankly, it has been a unmitigated disaster. The first year, as you know, he did not play well. He got off to a slow start. Every year with the Mets, he is a notoriously slow starter. Why? That's baseball. That's how it is sometimes. But this gets to a point where his slides are so bad that they're now affecting the team. And as you know, the first year, he's also known as the thumbs down guy. That's the other guy that was doing the thumbs down. There were other guys part of it, obviously Javi Baez, Kevin Pillar, I would mention, and a few other guys that were part of this thumbs down. And why did they do that? Because Lindor was a crybaby the first year, did nothing but whine in the clubhouse. The Met fans were being mean to him. I'm being paid $340 million. I'm not being productive, but the Met fans are booing me. That's right. That's how it is. You're being paid a certain amount of money. There's an expectation that you're going to produce superstar numbers. You didn't do that. You're going to get booed. You're not going to get a pat on the back. You're not going to get kids holding signs saying they love you like they do in Cleveland. And if you notice how it was in Cleveland last week, how happy he was to be back. You saw the sort of joking around but again, the weird behavior that he has shown over the first 4 seasons with this ball club. Again, the first year doing this to us, paying customers, fans that spend hours upon hours upon hours a year watching the games, watching YouTube channels like this one, listening to the radio, listening to different TV programs, trying to find out what the Mets are going to do in the off season. He is spending less time on the field than we do following the entire game, the entire team, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And a lot of people have been Mets fans for 50, 60 years, and this asshole has the nerve, 3 years ago, the thumbs down. Well, I give him a digit myself. That's what I give him. And that's what I should have given him 3 years ago, even more so than I did. I did a live stream after this whole thing came out that's why they were doing that, was to F us. But you know what? F him. F this group of Met players. And you know what? We don't need to take this, and we don't need to watch these games and be belittled by this guy and belittled by some of the other players, I'm sure, behind the scenes. If you can't perform here, get the hell out of here. If Lindor doesn't like it here, ask for a trade. 2 years ago, he had a big year, put up good numbers, drove 100 runs, but when the Mets needed him in September, nowhere to be found. Disappeared off the face of the earth. When the Mets needed him to get big hits in Atlanta, a no-show. Magic disappeared. Like Houdini, magic disappeared. You talk about magic. You talk about a disappearing act. when they went up against the Padres, like Houdini, magic, never appeared in the series other than in Game 2, when really the Mets were shot as a team. And of course, in Game 3, the Mets had one hit. I don't even remember who it was. I know it wasn't Lindor. Like magic, never showed up, disappeared through thin air, dissipate. Last year, when the Mets were struggling so badly going through this June swoon, also Pete Alonso dealing with a terrible wrist injury, couldn't hit. Where was Lindor during that time? Nowhere to be found. I had never seen such disappearing accidents since David Copperfield. I had never seen such disappearing accidents. Well, I never seen Houdini. Nobody's seen Houdini. But you catch my drift. He's never there when you need him. Mets need him now. He's hitting .209. His OPS plus, which is a barometer, an offensive barometer for a player, 100 is considered average. Going into Sunday's game, it was 90. So he's 10% less than the average major leaguer this year. His RBI total is pathetic. His being able to hit the clutch is pathetic. He's not a 3 hitter. He's certainly not a number 4 hitter. He's a .279 on-base percentage hitter. And I'm very bewildered as to why he's batting more in this lineup. I know that Mendoza is struggling to get this offense going, but that's not going to cut it. But that's not on Mendoza. Mendoza's coming in here. He's the third manager of Francisco Lindor with the Mets. It can't all be these managers' faults if this team doesn't win at this point. And there are other players to blame in this situation. This team, this group, has been together for basically 5 years. And now we know that this group cannot handle it. This group is weak. Lindor is weak. He's not a tough player. He's tough physically. He'll go out there every day. But up here, either he's not tough up here, or he just doesn't have enough talent to get these big hits in these big pressure situations in this tough city of New York. New York is a tough place to play if you don't perform, because then people like myself are going to go on social media and complain about it. Now, prior to the Mets making this trade for Lindor, I was very leery of this player based on the Mets' history with the Cleveland organization when they brought in these middle infielders, and I was very concerned that this was going to be a disaster. We saw it many years ago with Carlos Baerga. That was a disaster. They traded Jose Vizcaino and Jeff Kent, and they got nothing for Baerga. He was shot. And then a few years later, the Mets brought in Robbie Alomar, and Alomar was not a Hall of Famer anymore. He was shot. Shot as a player. Okay, so now we have a third player who has been more productive than the other guys, but now we're in a different situation because this team was expected to win in 2022 and 2023, and they didn't win in 22. They sort of fizzled, and then last year they never showed up. He never showed up. And knowing that this team needed to get off to a good start, Lindor knew he had to get off to a good start. Has been terrible. And he is probably, folks, the most overrated player in baseball, in my view. He puts up the numbers, but they don't count. He was a 30-30 man last year with the Mets. That means 30 stolen bases, 30 home runs. But of all the guys that have done it as a Met, you could not have found more meaningless games to do it in and in more meaningless situations. Howard Johnson did it 3 times. Other than 91, the 2 other years were meaningful situations. The Mets were good those 2 years. Darryl Strawberry did in 1987 as well. He had a great year. It was a meaningful year. They tried to get the postseason. I guess in 2008, 2007, David Wright did it. Okay, and those years the Mets were good, even though there was a collapse at the end of those teams. All those numbers meant something. The 30-30 season that Lindor had could not have been in a more meaningless spot, in a more meaningless situation. He was just padding his numbers to get fools to believe that he's this great player. And now we see now with the whole behavior in Cleveland where he's taking a bow over a bang-bang play overturned by a replay. If we didn't have replay, they weren't going to overturn that play. And he's taking bows and acting very immature. And we've seen this with this player. He's extremely immature for this market. And I've said in other videos, we know about the situation between him and Jeff McNeil. He and Jeff McNeil had a big argument in the dugout, in the runway in the dugout. And instead of them saying, look, we had a disagreement about where we're going to play on the field. It's all over with. It's done with. It's in between the lines. We want to both win, and that's it. Instead, they started talking about arguing whether it was a possum or a raccoon. Bullshit. That's immaturity on the player of Lindor. We're seeing some very bizarre behavior from this player. And then when he promised McNeil that he would buy him a car, it took him over a year to do it. It took social media to pressure him to do it. When buying a car for a guy like him is easy. Buying a car for a guy like me is easy. I can get a car within a week. But Lindor takes over a year. Well, you got to understand, he's got kids. It only takes a week. I'm sure his credit is good. Is his credit not good? I don't know. But that's what we're talking about with this player. He's extremely immature. He's very inconsiderate to his teammates. Who cares if he doesn't get along with Jeff McNeil? He makes a promise that he'll buy him a car. He wins a batting title. You do it. You don't make him wait over a year when this is a situation that was an easy purchase for him to make. So we've seen this sort of immature. Now, this is just an example. The car is an example of the immaturity of the player. And obviously, he cannot handle playing here in New York. He can't handle it. He can't handle the critiques. He can't handle the pressure. I hope that the Mets get him out of here. I'm going to keep doing videos on him. If you like me doing videos on him, exposing this player as really, I don't call any players frauds. They get there, working hard, but there comes a point you got to call them out and say, look, you can't cut it here. You can't do it here. Get him out of here. Send him somewhere there's not as much pressure. I'm sure he'll blend in with someplace and get him out of here. People say, well, nobody's going to want to trade him. Just get him out of here. Do whatever the hell you got to do. Eat all the contract that you have to. Get him out of here. Simple as that. Well, you let me know what you think about this video, and I'll keep doing videos on Lindor. You want me to keep doing videos on this guy? I know one thing. And if you want me to keep doing that, hit the subscribe button. I know one thing, folks. He's not going to be smiling too many more times over the next couple of months as long as I keep doing these videos. So, thank you for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.